The Tie and Hoodie Show is sponsored by ICCLending.com. For real estate service, please go to ICCLending.com.
3, 2, 1.
Every human came to earth with a gift, and they must discover that gift and refine that gift for them to be fulfilled.
The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame.
Yo, hey man, how you work this radio?
You're not listening to the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Keep it locked.
Owning a home and paying it off is one of the data points of an everyday millionaire.
Home sales across the U.S. are on the rise as buyers take advantage of record low mortgage rates.
Good morning. Now let's get back to the Tie and Hoodie Show.
Good morning. It's the 93.5 K-Day favorite show in the morning, the Tie and Hoodie Show, right here with myself, Trevon Smith, also with my co-host, Andrew Ojesi Koba. How you doing this morning, Andrew?
I'm doing good, Trevon. Another week, another day. Nice to see you. Miss you guys. Miss you. I mean, I don't get to sit next to you and touch you because of COVID, but hey, we're here. We're still making it happen, right?
It's the new 2020-21 version of Tie and Hoodie Show. Like I said, each and every Sunday, we try to bring something positive. We try to bring some information. We try to bring guests that will benefit you in your life. And also, get some services to these people, man. We call these hometown heroes, people like this brother that we got coming up next. He's an award-winning entrepreneur. He's been in 10 years of executive experience. He's an expert in lean management, knowledge, and dynamic training abilities. He's also been featured on Fox News and NBC. And with my pleasure to introduce you, it's Micheal Parker, the CEO of Micheal Parker Enterprises. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
It's a beautiful day, man, especially, to speak to a brother like you and, pick your brain. So how's it going? Talk to us a little bit. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. Just take us on a journey. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been through. Some people have dramatic, testimonies. Some people have all right testimonies. We're all ears.
Well, first, I just want to thank you both for inviting me to the show that you have here. I think it's great what you all are trying to do to really encourage and inspire people to be better. As you mentioned, I've had the privilege to accomplishing a lot in business. I've actually been an entrepreneur now for over 20 years.
Okay.
And started a lot of companies, won awards and so forth, but that's not really how my journey started. I was actually born in the Bay Area and being born and raised in some areas where there was a lot of struggle. I actually ended up in a situation where my mom was in a pretty bad domestic violence situation growing up. And so because of that, it put me in a lot of violent situations and a lot of challenging situations. I went to about 6 or 7 different elementary schools growing up and had to move around a whole lot. I never forget being in this shelter for battered women with my mom and just wondering, if I would ever be able to achieve anything, what would I become, going yet to another school and really starting to think about just in my own mental sky, how was I going to arrive up, past certain things. And being a young man with your mom, anybody who's experienced some of those situations, you feel kind of helpless as a man. You want to protect your mom, and being in a situation where you feel like you couldn't provide that protection and you were in these situations. But little did I know, there was something developing in my heart and in my mind from a leadership perspective. And there was times that I was going to school and sometimes I was that class clown, not because I just was a bad kid, but I wanted to, sometimes you want to laugh to keep from crying. You just want something to get your mind off of what was going on in real life. And so you end up acting out in ways that you shouldn't. But I had to learn how to get past that and found out that I really had a lot of talents that I didn't realize that I had. And so, that's why my heart goes out so much to youth and adults who don't feel like they can achieve certain things because I've really, been through a lot of places in my journey that caused me to have to rise above a lot. And so there's a lot of elements we can get into, but specifically coming from a really tough upbringing and going through a lot of emotional roller coasters in that journey, it taught me so much to really prepare me. And of course, I thank God, for ultimately, keeping his hand on my life. But, we can't just thank God and not do what we're supposed to do either. And so there were some things that once I got a realization, I feel like everybody has what I call a CEO moment or like a crossroad where you have to make an executive decision of what you want to do in certain situations. And that decision is going to determine a lot to do with your destiny, your path, and where you end up. And so that's why I'm so big on one of my companies. It's called You Are a CEO. And I always say you run the business of you, and trying to teach people to be the CEO and rise above their childhood, their insecurities, their fears, their doubts, so that you realize that who's really in charge. You have to make a decision every day. And that's why all of us are CEOs of our life, for sure, because we have to make that executive decision. So anyway, there's a lot of elements there, but that's a lot about my journey at a really high level, but there's much more.
So, I mean, your journey is I mean, hey, well, thank you very much, obviously, first of all, for some people, it's hard for them to tell their personal stories, go deep dive inside and say, okay, this is who I was. And don't just look at me now as a successful CEO. This is where I'm coming from. But one thing I wanted you to tell our audience is what motivated you to go from giving excuses about your situation and wanting to come out of that situation? Because a lot of people we meet and see, they're like, well, it's because of this problem, that's why I'm not doing this. It's because of this, that's why I'm not doing that. But you were dealt a different hand of card. You were dealt a very difficult situation. But you decided, no, this is not going to define me. I'm bigger than that. How were you able to cross that divide?
Well, I think, and that's why I love to talk about how you are a CEO, because I think it's when you really get to a crossroad. At a crossroad, you can go left or right. And when you realize that there's really a crossroad in your life, some people never come to the realization that there is a crossroad. They just live, they just go, they just do. They let their emotions drive them. They let their childhood, their insecurities drive them. But when you really get to the point, I actually have some godparents that took a lot of time with me when I was young, and it showed me at least that there was two different lives. Like I didn't have to. There was this one life that I saw, and there was another life that I saw, and that created a crossroad. Then I met I never forget meeting this young lady in school, and she was getting straight A's, and I began to talk to her. And she happened to be of Asian descent. And I just asked her, like, how are you getting these out? I looked at her head wasn't no bigger than mine. It wasn't her brain size or something. I said, what's going on? And so, she got real serious with me and said, you know what? I do my homework right after class. When I have questions, I ask the teacher to make sure I understand. She talked about her eating habits. She talked about how she got a proper sleep. And these different things. And it's like this light bulb when I start seeing, well, this is about hard work. Like, it's not, that you're, got something that I don't. And if anybody gonna have some hard work, it's me, based on where I've come from and what I've been through and all the battles I've fought in my heart and my mind, all the things I've had to push through. And so if you mean that that's what this takes. And so a light bulb went on, and that really transformed me when I realized that my work and my effort could make a difference, that it did matter how I thought and the battles that I fought within myself and how I let that begin to come out in how I do things to others. I never forget when I came out of college and I was hired by Toyota, and, I was young, came from the inner city. I was just happy to, I couldn't believe I was even there, after all that I had been through. And Akio Toyoda, who is the president of Toyota, he's actually in the Toyota family, the grandson of the founder. And he was coming there, and I didn't realize it was a big deal. So everybody's like, Akio Toyoda's coming. Akio Toyoda's coming. Okay, they said, well, someone need to give him a tour of the latest projects going around, the company. And they said, well, Michael, will you do it? I was young in my early 20s. I said, yeah, I'll give the presentation. So I give the presentation, just another person to me, just based on kind of how I came up. So I gave the presentation. And so little did I know that next week, Akio Toyoda said, who is that young man? He said, it's something different about him. He said, I want him to be a part of a special project team. Only 7 people in all of America would go to Japan. And next thing you know, I had a letter written in Japanese. I was sent on a flight by myself to Toyota City, Japan. I didn't even know what the letter said. When I got off the plane, I handed it to the taxi driver. He nodded at me. I nodded at him. And I just hope he took me to the right place. And when I got to that hotel, I can tell you, I fell on my knees. And I just was so thankful because I couldn't believe the little latchkey kid, born in Oakland, raised in Richmond and Vallejo, California, in some very tough situations, being able to be sitting here in Toyota City, Japan, being trained by first generation lean experts. And little did I know this would take me down a whole new frontier in my career before I became an entrepreneur. But it goes all the way back to that decision, that crossroad, where once you know that there is more than one way, it's making a choice that I'm not going to dwell in what I've always been and what I've always had, but make an effort and put the work in to become something more. And that's kind of how it happened for me.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, this is why I asked that question, because sometimes we get a 1-minute answer and then sometimes we get a blessing like that. And I think what you just told all these people listening on K-Day and all these people watching YouTube gives them an inspiration that one day they can be somebody if they're not already, in which they already are, but sometimes you need a little bit of success for you to feel a little bit more important. So what you just gave the people right now was super priceless. We appreciate you for that. I love everything about what you just said, man. And this is why I love to be a part of this show on the Tie and Hoodie Show. I wanted to know a little bit about exactly what lean management is. If you could walk me through that. That's just, look, I'm just asking my own questions right now. What exactly is lean management? Because I see that you specialize in it, and I've done some research and I heard a lot about it, but I don't know exactly what lean management is. If you could walk us through that.
Sure. I actually, to pick up from where I left off in Japan, I went around North America and Canada being trained by first generation lean experts that came from Toyota. And lean is really a management principle that grew out of Japan through Toyota and through their experience after World War II. And to sum it up, lean is really about being able to come into any business operation or structure and really identify what the true value is that the customer will value, and then trim off all the fat that doesn't add to that value. And that's why it's called lean. So there's a lean approach to any operation, any business, any process, making sure you're only doing what adds value. And in business, really, a lot of times, 70 to 90% of all of the activity going on in the business is waste. There's so much waste in the business. And so Toyota developed a management principle to be able to compete with companies in America. And then it became known. It started off being known as the Toyota production system. Then it became known as lean management. So what I did once I was well trained, my inspiration was I found out while I was at Toyota in my dream job that really wasn't what I was built to do. Like I really had an entrepreneur in me. And so I broke away from Toyota and people couldn't believe it. I was on the fast track. I was working with all the top executives, but I knew there was something I was supposed to be doing. And I started to start companies. And one of the things I did was start to teach companies. I became a lean implementer in my own businesses, and then started doing consulting for large companies, Fortune 100 companies. Well, I still do that now in just many areas of business, but lean as well.
Okay.
So I actually wrote a book called Who Said So? And the book is about how to implement lean in any industry. So who said that lean can't be implemented everywhere. And so I began to introduce this to the world in a business book called Who Said So? That's all about, and I made it a little more simple for everyone to understand. Instead of lean management, I call it value-centered management, because that's what lean is trying to do, is center everything in the business around the value that really the customer wants to pay for.
That's we're going deep into some, if you're just listening, obviously you're just joining us on the show. Micheal Parker is our guest. Now, Micheal, there's something interesting. When somebody decides to start a company and they put their own name as the company, it says a lot about integrity. It says a lot about your name. It says a lot about, because if you have a bad name, there's no way you're going to come and say Micheal Parker LLC. When did you get to that point where you say, you know what, I'm the best person to represent myself?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I always go by Micheal E. Parker, because there's so many Micheal Parkers out there. When I was in high school, there was a guy named Micheal Parker, and I would be taken to the principal office. I didn't even do anything. It was the other guy. So I start to really call Micheal E. Parker. My middle name is Emmanuel, and and starting off, I did not do that. I started a lot of companies, and I have a lot of different businesses, even now. And I talked about URCO. URCO is a corporation, and that's really what I'm using right now to really inspire people. I have like over $1 million in technology that is in URCO, and I have an achievement club for people out there who really want to achieve more. I've put something together where they can be a member of this club and literally get access to life coaching, business coaching, technologies that help them know how to manage money. Things, we have our own social network, like an Instagram, that's all positive with no ads, no trolling, no foolishness. It's all about achievement and being uplifted. There's a lot to it, but after I started to build some of these businesses, I did need something, because I've had a team that's been with me for over 17 years now. I've built a company and an enterprise, and I needed a name for the whole thing. And that's where I felt like there was nothing, because I've got so many different elements to me. There's me, the more of the life coach, there's the business coach, there's the I've got a business that's in the food industry. I've got, I got a salon, all these things. And so when you look at all that, there was nothing that could tie all that together except my story. And that's where I said I would create Micheal Parker Enterprises, so that I could have that. And I don't really promote that as much. It's there, and you can definitely see it if you do your research and see it online. But each business kind of in its own market focuses on what that business is for. But if you get behind the scenes, you'll see a common root to that tree, which is Micheal Parker Enterprises.
All great information, Mr. Parker. Do you want to do you have a website or something that our listeners or YouTube subscribers could go to and check you out, a phone number, anything?
Yeah, right now, I would really like, as many people as possible to go to youraceo.com. And that's spelled out like the sentence, like youreaceo.com. And go to youraceo.com and just check out the things we're doing, find out about the Achievement Club. I do a lot of free events. I just came off of a whole series called This Won't Break Me, to help entrepreneurs to rise above the struggle that's happening right now. We just had a summit, an all-day summit, a This Won't Break Me summit. But really, this Achievement Club, I can't say enough about it. It is a subscription-based club, but through the club, I found a way to create this very unique model where people can literally get the kind of wire their thinking in their brain to create certain habit formation, to where you start creating a habit out of achieving more. And believe it or not, all these platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they're all using persuasive technology that makes people keep coming back, makes dopamine release from the brain and creates habit. But what if we could take that psychology and we could use it in a way, or I should say that persuasive technology, and use it for wiring us to achieve more? And that's what I've been working on and studying, for some time. And now I finally have the platform and it's working. And we're seeing people just achieve, as a lifestyle. And on top of that, I've created an opportunity for people to make money because people really need money. And so I have a way through my affiliate program where people can make money with it as well. So again, it's a lot there, but starting out, just go to urco.com and find out more about what we're doing. And I think people that are serious about, achieving more, they'll really love what we're doing.
So I want to talk about your upcoming event, Stop Dreaming Entrepreneur Bootcamp. Is that still open? Can people still register for that, or is it closed out as we speak?
The one that we're going to do that's launching next week, that one is closed. But if you go to, I believe it's stopdreamingceo.com, you can sign up to get on the waiting list for the next one that will open up. And we'll make first priority to those people. But we've got a host of entrepreneurs, scores of entrepreneurs that are in this one, and we're looking to have a really great time. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be doing a lot for entrepreneurs, but that again has been closed now, but you can get on the waiting list for the next one if you're really serious about entrepreneurship. And if you're starting a business, managing one, or want to grow one, you'll get a lot out of that boot camp.
So we have probably a few minutes to go. Our shows go by so fast. It's just half an hour. I know we have a lot to unpack. I just want to take just 1 or 2 minutes of your time. Somebody's listening out there and saying, I'm at the bottom of the bottom right now. I'm sick of life. I'm stuck in a rut. I don't know what to do. What would be your advice for that person listening?
Well, one of the things that I talk about in URCO is there's 4 enemies to human advancement and success that I found. One of them is self-ignorance, not really understanding who you are and what you've been through and how it shaped you. It's very important to know what happened so that you can do something about it. Another one is fear. Really understanding how fear works and how the brain works. Anything that's traumatic, anything that's hurtful, the brain will keep that in front of you at all times and always try to protect you from feeling that hurt again. But the danger is sometimes when you're about to do something great, that emotion comes up in that fear, and it's not real, but it's real to you. And so it can stop you from taking that next step. Another key area is insecurity. Just always looking, I like to call it out security, because you're always looking out at someone outside of you to validate you. Like you're always needing someone to validate that I can do it and that I can go and that I'm okay and that I'm smart enough and that I can make it happen. And you have to begin to look inward and start to create some self-worth and some self-respect and some self-dignity to be able to find something on the inside that can drive you. And that's why it's important to put some of these types of ingredients in you. The last one is mediocrity, and just areas of our life that we refuse to give our all and be excellent. And so these 4 enemies are extremely important, and they're overcome. Instead of self-ignorance, we need self-awareness. Instead of fear, we need courage. Instead of insecurities, we need self-empowerment. Instead of mediocrity, we need excellence. And so I would invite anyone out there, the first thing that you need to realize is that you are the CEO of your life. And you can take charge of that. I don't care what happened in the past. I don't care who hurt you before. I don't care how many times things didn't go the way they were supposed to. Every day that you wake up, there's a chance for you to be an executive of that day and of your future. And you have to make a conscious decision to say, I'm going to take advantage of this CEO moment, and I'm going to be the executive of what is going to happen next. And when you make that decision up in your mind, don't expect the mountains to move. Then you got to climb. Now you got to fight. So once you make that decision, you got to have something in you that's willing to push and willing to fight. And that's one of the things that I would just invite everyone out there. And one of the secrets to everything that I just said is environment. So that's why some people say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to spend, my money more responsibly. I'm going to stop doing this. And then they go back to the environment that generates the thoughts that creates the same emotion that leads to the same action, and it gives you the same result. But if you change the environment, you'll get different thoughts, which gives you different feelings, which leads to different actions, which leads to different results. And that's the equation. You have to get in the right environment. That's why so many people don't change all the way. They read another book, they go to another event, they're inspired by another video, but it never sticks because you have to actually change the environment so you can change how you're thinking.
Hey, right here, church on 93.5 KD, it gets no better with the sermon. Hey, when you took them, that's how my daddy used to talk to me. A lot of people didn't get that, but I got that. What you just told them was just the honest truth. And unfortunately, some people take it as a negative, and then the ones who really want it just grabbed it all in. This is my personal question. I want to know what day, I don't know if you know what day or month or year, what day did that all, when something clicked in you and you was like, when you feel the way you just talked right now, what day did that? I don't know how to exactly describe it. Mine didn't happen till last year. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm 42. They didn't happen till last year, where I kind of understood it, where I don't fear anything no more. I understand I'm in control of my future, and I'm not scared of anything, and I feel I can take on anything as long as I be more productive than not, and put myself in the right environment, like you said. What day did that happen for you?
Well, honestly, I think it's more like it happened to me.
Okay.
And the reason that I say that is I ended up in a lot of situations with just how my household went, and where I trusted a lot of people that were supposed to be my guides and my leaders and the people that I went to for direction. And when those things fell apart, and when trust was broken, or when I realized that those things were not pillars I could lean on, is when I realized I had to find something within myself. And that's something that it wasn't organized yet. I wasn't, saying you are a CEO and all of this.
Yeah, I got you.
But I got the understanding that, there's something in me that I have to rely on. And I'm very thankful that I also had a relationship with God at a very young age, and that helped me. But then again, you have to know what to do. You can't just say, I love God and God's going to do everything for me. You got to give God something to work with. You got to go read a book and do what you're supposed to do and fight to have some skills. Exactly. So I began to learn there was things that I needed to do. And I think later on, it began to be organized into something that I could create a system. And I didn't realize I had such systematic operational thinking. So I got my degree in operations and my master's degree in management, business management. But I didn't realize I had that thinking. So when I got into lean and all these things, I started learning how to put systems together. And that's why now I don't want to just be another inspirational voice. I don't want to be a motivational speaker. I want to give people an achievement system, something that can be replicated, that they can use to go forward as a way of life.
So the website again is Be Your Own CEO, right?
No, you are a CEO.
You are a CEO. So you are a CEO. You are a CEO.com. So listeners, go to youareceo.com. I'm a client. I'm going to be a student. I know we just met. I think it's by divine intervention, in my opinion. And I believe that I'm so blessed from just this short conversation we had. We have only 30 minutes for our show. We hope that you will say yes to a return visit down the road. Hopefully you can give us that grace,
Sure, absolutely. It's a pleasure being with you both. And I really thank you for the work that you're doing and the people that you're inspiring, and all those that hear this. We should support people like this and programs like this that are trying to do good. And so I really thank you both for all that you do. And it's been a pleasure being here with you.
Mr. Parker, we salute you. We appreciate you. KD listeners, we'll see you guys next week. It gets no better than this. TieandHoodieShow.com. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parker.
Thank you. God bless.
Hey, do you have valuable information that can help your community?
Okay.
And you'd like to be a guest? Hit us on our social media.
Do it now. The Tie and Hoodie Show is sponsored by ICCLending.com. For real estate service, please go to ICCLending.com.